Do you know that you're much more than you're currently experiencing right now? Do you know what society tells you about who you are just misses the mark? Are you looking for inner guidance, higher guidance to tap into your highest potential? Are you ready to listen to and trust your inner voice? If so, then today's show is for you. Our guest will be sharing her life journey and be sharing tips for listening to your inner voice, that voice within. She'll also be doing some mini readings for you and your animals. So, as you know, as I like to say, get your pen and pad ready. You're going to want to take some notes. Buckle up. We're getting ready to take a ride in the quantum field and possibly way beyond. Buckle up. I wouldn't want you to go flying off to another dimension. Or just maybe, that's exactly what you need. Welcome to the People and Pet Show. Welcome to the People and Pet Show. I'm so glad that you've chosen to join us this morning. And I'm so glad and honored to have with us our guest today, Sarah Woodard. Sarah, how are you?
Hey, Mark, I am great. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I'm very excited to talk about all of the things.
Yeah, we're going to introduce you a little bit because she has a very interesting background. She's going to share it with you and share some of her processes. So I met Sarah, I guess probably about 6-7 months ago this year.
Yeah.
I met you on one of her podcasts. Talked a lot about animals. And yes. I knew, a lot of the works we do when I have other guests are, we complement each other. A lot of people out there doing a lot of great things. I like to bring them to the audience so everyone can get a sense of what people are doing. And, there's a place and time for everyone, everything. And,
there's enough abundance for all of us.
Exactly. There's plenty for all. So glad that Sarah is joining us this morning. So as you're viewing the show today, please let us know where you're viewing it from. And also if you have any comments or questions for Sarah as we go through the show today, let us know. Also, please, if you're seeing this call live, please give it a like on Facebook and like the People and Pets show. And if you're seeing it on replay on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up for the show and subscribe to the People and Pets channel. Also, thank you so much for being here today or on replay. There are so many things you could be doing with your time right now. And we're both so glad and honored that you've chosen to spend some of your time with us today. So we'd like to offer you a lot of value. And please share out this episode too. If you know people that would benefit for what we're talking about, please share it with them on social media, Facebook, or if you're seeing on YouTube, forward them the link. All right. So I'd like to introduce myself. Some of you may be familiar with me. For some of you, this may be the first time you're seeing the People and Pet Show. My name is Mark Hernandez. I'm the owner and founder of People and Pets Energetics. I'm a holistic practitioner that helps people, animals, and spaces when they've hit the wall with health and well-being issues. Basically, I have intuitive gifts and extensive training to read the subtle energy fields and then identify and release non-beneficial and negative energies that are locking into place health and well-being issues. So what frequently gets people in the door to book a consultation with me? Usually they're in some level of pain that's disrupting the quality of their everyday life. Let's say it's the low energy. Okay, so it's a low energy issue. I'll first ask them, have you seen your medical doctors? Get your thyroid, blood work, get all the tests, the battery of tests that medical doctors would like you to have. The results come back, and usually doctors make recommendations of changes in your lifestyle or eating or whatever it is. And that's a valuable piece of information. You made those changes. And there's still a missing piece. You still have some low energy. Maybe you've done some alternative things, chiro, acupuncture, Chinese herbs, whatever it is. And maybe it's helped you move further along and you still know there's a missing piece. So when people have gone through the low-hanging fruit and they know there's still a missing piece, that's often when they'll pick up the phone or send me an email and ask to book a session. For your pets, 2 big categories. Category 1, changes in behavior, peeing and pooing in the household, separation anxiety, excessive barking, and much more. Again, let's say it's your pet doing the peeing and pooing thing. First question to you, have you taken your pet to the vet? Get it checked out, have all the tests run, make sure something veterinarily is not going on. Often results come back and vets say, we couldn't find anything. So you've done your due diligence. We'll look at the energy field, see what's locking in place the peeing and pooing for your animals and release those energies. Second category for pets is you have taken your pet to the vet. The vet discovers something veterinarily going on, maybe a blockage in the intestine, some type of growth. Your pet is under the care of your veterinarian and you'd like an extra layer of energetic support with the issues. I can work with you on that. Finally, for your spaces, have you ever gone into space, even if you're not really into woo-woo stuff, you go, oh, I just got to get out of here. You immediately feel the energy. Some of the places have the wonkiest energies are schools, hospitals, veterinary clinics, jails, hospitals, courthouses, all that stuff, or just your home. Okay, so I can see what's gone energetically, what's locking in place the weird stuff going in your home, and your space will feel different. So all my work is non-invasive, safe, gentle, and yields results. At times immediately, and in other instances over time. I do in-person consultations at holistic fairs, mostly in my area. And 95% of the time I do consultations by phone or video technology. Just yesterday I was working with the cat out in the Santa Barbara area. I was able to help the cat. So that's who I am and what I do in a nutshell. Now, I'd like to turn to our guest and introduce our guest today, Sarah Woodard. Okay, Sarah Woodard is a Reiki Master Teacher, a certified Shamanic Practitioner, animal communicator, animal lover, and vegan cat mom, and a chemical-free beekeeper.
And you forgot author. Don't forget that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she sent a little bit of a revised one. I was reading off the wrong script. Okay. So yeah.
It's okay, Mark. I forgive you.
But no, thank you. Thank you. I was like, that was different. Yeah, she is an author. I'm going to get to that. So her mission is to create a world in which all beings are respected and honored. To accomplish this, she writes books for kids and adults that encourage connection to self, soul, spirit, and the environment. She lives an eco-friendly vegan lifestyle and encourages others to do the same. In addition to writing books for children and their parents, she offers healing services to pets and their people, animal communication sessions, and books coaching services. Her business is the Stonebridge Transformation.
So this is one place I've had a little bit of a shift recently, as we were talking about before hopping on. I'm just being me. I no longer have business names per se. I'm just being me, and I'm doing what I do because it's all about working with spirit and making the world a better place for every single being on it. And I felt like having a business name and a website and it was all just, it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And B, it was so much work that I wasn't being me anymore. I was just thinking about branding and marketing, and it was like, no, but that's not the focus. Like, the focus is to help. And so to do that, I took a step back and said, I'm just going to be me.
Great. Okay. Well, that's great. More updating. So that's great.
Yes.
And I think that's true of all our lives. We're always shifting, evolving, adapting.
Yes,
even if we're not doing healing work, whatever we're doing, we're living.
Life is not stagnant.
All of us are living in a fast-changing world where we're constantly shifting, which is great.
Exactly.
So, Sarah, welcome to the People and Pets Show.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. And our topic today is trust your inner voice. So already kind of feels like kind of what Sarah said, and she'll be sharing more of her journey in a minute. You know, may fit in that broad category of just trusting her inner voice.
I think you picked a pretty perfect category for me. Yeah. Or topic or whatever.
Yeah. It just kind of came to me. I was kind of saying, okay, what? And that's just what came. I just kind of.
Well, you trusted your inner voice to get the topic.
Yeah. I picked the topic for Sarah. No. But I felt like this is also be benefit to the whole audience, to all of us.
Sure.
Me too.
For sure.
So I'm right there with you. Sarah, let me first check with the chat to see who's on today before we go.
Absolutely.
Let me just check. All right. Okay. Show. We have Stephanie Lynn she's watching from Orange County, California. Ooh. It's early
out there.
7:30 this morning, or early 7. Thank you, Stephanie Lynn, for being here today. And well, again, if you have any comments during the broadcast or questions for Sarah, please write them in. So, Sarah, some of the viewers are on replay may be already very familiar with your story, your work. Others are probably brand spanking new to you.
Absolutely.
So, can you share with us some pivotal moments in your journey into the world of all you be today? What were the pivotal moments? Yeah.
Absolutely. So, the first pivotal moment was when I decided to get my Reiki Master Teacher training. And to be honest, I forget how long ago that was. I could get up and walk in the other room and look at my certificate, but I'm not going to, because I feel like that would be distracting. But
is one of your cats with you by chance? I'm just curious.
There is a cat with me, yes.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. Well, they're welcome. Often come in.
Yeah. Here, just so everybody can see, this is Sunny. Say hi, Sunny. She's like, no, I'm not saying hello.
That's right. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted.
No problem. So when, but it was at least, well, let me see. I've been in my house now 7 years. So it was at least 6 years ago that I decided to get my Reiki training.
Okay.
And I had never had a Reiki session. I didn't even consider myself very spiritually in tune at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I believed in God, but it was very just like, I believe there's God and I pray, but I feel like I get no answer on the other end of the phone, right? Yeah. Like it rings and rings, or I get a busy signal, but nothing actually happens. And I was sitting in my house and I was knitting and I was thinking about the fact that my career wasn't in a place I wanted to be. I have fibromyalgia, and at that point my body just was being really uncooperative and I was in pain all the time. And I needed big things to shift in my life. And I was just knitting and I'm like, I just don't know what to do. And literally just out of the blue, I hear a voice, unidentifiable, male or female, just a voice saying, you need to learn Reiki. And I'm like, okay. I was very tangentially aware of this concept of Reiki, but I had never really interacted with it beyond, there's a thing called Reiki.
Yeah.
But next thing I know, I'm signing up and I'm getting my 1 and then my 2 and then my master teacher. And that was like the toe in the water, right? Like, because as I'm going through, part of the reason I went up through all those levels is because I kept feeling like there's more. And I was born feeling that way. Like I was always on this journey of trying to figure out what we're not being told. Like I came out believing that we were not given all the information. Just like my journey to being vegan started in the womb, but that's a whole other story. But I came out feeling that way. And so after I'd had my Reiki master for a while, I decided to do a retreat to help people. And I forget the full concept of it at this point because it was a while ago, but it was me and a friend of mine and a friend of hers. We were the co-hosts. And I was doing Reiki treatments and oracle card readings for people at the retreat. And we did some yoga and we did some Zentangle. And it was a really cool time. And one of the women that was there that I did a private oracle card reading for, at the end of the retreat, she says, I have to ask you a question. Have you ever thought about shamanism? And it like awoke something that had been asleep inside me since like elementary school when we learned about Native Americans and shamans and spirit guides. But I went to a really small school, so there was no way that I could explore that beyond, that's interesting. So it went to sleep. Yeah. When she said that, it woke this thing back up, and I was like, whoa, well, I mean, peripherally, but not really. Why? And she's like, I just feel that coming off of you. And I know, and by that point, I knew enough to trust other people's wisdom if it felt true for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the drive home, my girlfriend that was one of the co-hosts, she and I carpooled. So she's driving, and on the drive home, I'm researching on my phone, how can I learn to be a shaman?
Yeah.
And I found this amazing school that does it all online. They pair you up with a one-on-one person, but you meet this way, like via video instead of having to meet in person. And the woman that wound up being my mentor is in Canada, and she had a very similar experience with Reiki, feeling like there was more to it.
Yeah.
And she and I are definitely like soul family from another lifetime, and we're still in touch, even though it's been a while since I finished my training. And that for me, like, cracked everything open. Like, I initially just thought, well, I just want to meet my spirit guide. And you do that really early on in the training. And it is life-changing in and of itself. But the rest of the training was even more life-changing, because you have to, in order to heal people, as you know, in order to help other people heal, you have to confront your own stuff. You have to work through your own stuff all the time, repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. And the shaman training forces you to go really deep with the stuff that you've maybe going, I'm not going to go there yet. And now it makes you go there. And so it was super life-changing. And that like cracked everything open. And from there, that's when I started to try to work with people. But I've always loved animals. And by that point, I had been vegan for like 5 years. And I'm like, I really want to work with animals, but spirit just wasn't going there yet. Mm-hmm. And one of my cats, Sunny, the one I just introduced you all to, who refused to say hello, she has had a seizure disorder since she was like 1.5 or 2 years old. And we've tried like the phenobarbital and all that stuff, and nothing has ever really worked. And this one day, she was sitting next to me on the couch, and I felt led to do a healing on her, but I wasn't sure if that was okay to do, because in my shaman training, we'd always just talked about healing people. Yeah. So I emailed my mentor, and she's like, absolutely you can. And she gave me some tips. And so I did it. And for 6 months, she was seizure free. And that was amazing. That's the longest time frame that she has gone. Yeah. And then they started again and whatever, but that's a whole other story too. But at any rate, that opened up all of the animal healing stuff. But as I'm healing animals, I'm going, I want to be able to ask them their perspective. I'm like, what is happening with them? What's going on? And I was like, well, if I can talk to my spirit guides, and I can talk to not just my spirit guides, but spirits, period, and not in the way a medium does, but I can talk to the spirits that are around, why can't I talk to animals? And so I found this woman, Kara Gubbins, who she actually teaches animal communication, but she at the time, she had a free video series. And I was like, let me just see what I can do with the free video series. And there was one video that just made everything make sense about how to, it's basically like changing a channel on your radio, like to get the static to clear up or whatever. Like, Exactly. And so that one video, I was like, boom. And so I started talking to my cats, and they're talking back to me. And at first it was like, whoa, can I really believe this? So I tried with like my friends' pets, and I'm like, and I would give them back stuff, and they'd be like, well, and they would be like, how could you possibly know XYZ thing? I've never told you that. Well, but your pet did. So that was very like affirming. I'm like, okay, so clearly I can do this. Yeah. But all along the way, I have always loved writing. And when I was in 4th grade, I did that, obligatory essay about what you want to be when you grow up. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be a writer. And so for a long time, I was like, well, it's my writing for my business, and that's how I'm writing. And that was how I justified it. But more and more, I felt like spirit was asking more of me than that. And I finally just said, okay, whatever it is, like, just show me what it is. And now I write books, like a lot of kids' books. I write poetry. I write spiritual self-help books. And I feel like that's where spirit wants me now. Not that I don't do the heal. I definitely still do the healing work. I definitely still do the animal communication. And all of that also influences my writing. So it's kind of like a full circle thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Something you said about your cat, and this is something I've asked myself about myself when some things go on. You mentioned your cat, it went through a period where, 6 months without seizures,
Yeah.
and then apparently I guess they're still happening from time to time now. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, but when they started up again, I went back to spirit and I said, okay, like, I'm trying to find reasons to be grateful for these seizures, because I know you're not just giving these to me or to her because she's bad or I'm bad. She's an amazing cat. So what am I supposed to learn from this? And I had to dig really deep on that one because they're super stressful and it's horrible to watch.
Sure.
What I realized was she's trying to teach me some pretty big life lessons. I won't get into all of them now, but they're about compassion. They're about trust and many other things. But it's also on a more surface level about who I connect with, because when they started up again, I had tried to find a veterinary acupuncture years ago, and there wasn't really anybody doing it in the area at the time, except this one woman who only worked with horses and dogs. And I begged her and begged her and begged her, and she agreed to work with my cat, and it didn't go very well because it's not her expertise. It's not really it's not energetically where she wanted to be. So it didn't work very well.
Yeah.
So when the seizures started back up again, I dove back in and I was like, I've got to find a veterinary acupuncturist person because nothing else is working. And so I found this woman who comes to the house, which is amazing. And she has turned out to be one of my biggest referral sources. So there was a reason, like Kusani didn't just open up my animal healing and animal communication, but she's out there. Her seizures are a way of actually trying to advocate for me and for my life and in improving it in many, many ways. And so as much as I hate watching it, and I will always hate watching it, I understand now that we're not just here to be annoying,
Yeah. No, I asked that question in the broader sense because I think all of us, me included, all of us, we want our things going on to improve and clear as quickly as possible. Or I'll throw myself in that category.
Oh,
and sometimes things just stay around for a long time. And I'll speak for myself. Finally on something, I just said, I think I'll just surrender to the experience. I'm meant to know something else, because I'm doing all the things that theoretically should improve and help improve situations for my clients and definitely myself. And it ain't working right now. So just kind of be at peace with the experience that I get.
You still have to turn the crank and do the things, but you have to let go of the stress of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I go through that same process many, many times about many, many things. So I completely get that.
I hear you. Well, great. So, So let's I'm going to circle to the topic, kind of like trusting your inner voice. Can you share with us like some other key moments when you, like now or in the not too far past, when you knew it was important to trust your inner voice, even when logically it didn't make sense?
I can give you one right now.
Yeah.
So none of my books or healing work like 100% pay my living for me yet.
Sure.
I believe that it will someday. I trust that spirit is not like leading me down the path of failure, but it also takes time. And it's going to probably take longer than I want it to because I'm also being challenged to learn patience. I will be challenged to learn patience for the rest of my life. I know this. So I have to kind of, like you said, surrender to that experience. But because money is very tight right now, because my paid work sort of just overnight dried up, I blame the economy. I have been, turning the crank and trusting, and my inner voice led me to kind of shift the sort of other paid types of jobs that I was looking for, which meant redoing a resume and all of this stuff. But as soon as I did that and I started talking to my friends about, I think I might try to do this other thing, people started having options for me. As an example, a friend of mine last night, I said, I feel like maybe I just want to try to do virtual admin stuff. I loved when I was an admin in the business world because I got to help people. I didn't love working in the corporate office.
Right.
I need to work from home for many, many, many reasons.
Yeah.
But I loved helping somebody succeed in their life by being an admin. I loved that interaction. When you have a boss that gets you and you get your boss, there's nothing more beautiful than that.
Yeah.
And so I was telling my girlfriend this last night, and she says, well, you know, Sarah, my boss is thinking about making me a manager. And if that happens, I might need some part-time support. Great. You know, if I hadn't followed that inner voice and said, well, maybe I'll sort of circle back, I would still be hitting my head against a wall. Not that anything has opened up yet, but it's this other avenue that feels like, oh, this could work.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, I hear you. Yeah, that's what I think.
Also have learned, though, on that note that there needs to be boundaries about it, because not that long, I want to say maybe a year ago, I literally felt like I was constantly following spirit, following my inner voice, whatever you want to call it. And it would blow up in my face. It would just blow up in my face in really horrible ways. And I would be emotionally just devastated.
Yeah.
And I actually find my mom is very spiritually connected. She approaches it through Jesus, but she's very spiritually connected. And I said, Mom, do you ever feel like you're following spirit and it blows up in your face? And she said, well, no, talk to me, honey. And so I'm in tears sitting on my floor, bawling my eyes out. Yeah. And she's like, well, Sarah, just because you feel like that's what you're being told, you can still say no. Mm-hmm. And like the light bulb went off and it was like, oh yeah, boundaries. Like even with spirit, you have to have healthy boundaries. Sometimes it's about saying, hey, if you're going to live in my house, you can't come in my room while I'm showering and you can't come in my room while I'm sleeping. Right. Sometimes it's about, you know what? I get that that's what you want me to do, but I don't want to. Yeah. Mm. We still have free will. And, and so that was a really important piece of it. I still get hung up on that particular, you can say no piece sometimes, but it's better now that I'm at least aware I can. Oh yeah. I think that's a very important point about whether people are doing spiritual work or anything else in life, is always to have healthy boundaries. And I find a lot right now, clients I'm working with, that's one thing I'll always be checking. If they're like energies really plummeting and stuff, I'll check their boundaries with different aspects of their lives or the universe, and they've often plummeted. So re-strengthen them. And that's something I do for myself. So, you know, I'm right there with you, strengthening my boundaries all the time. So great. Let me go back to the webcast and just see, we have someone else that joined us. And we have Kim Bednarowski. She's a regular viewer of the show and great supporter. She says, hi from Wisconsin. Hi, Kim. Yeah, thank you for being here, Kim. Yeah, all right. And all right. So let's talk about the people you've been working with or the aspects of what you've been doing. You know, what right now, like the last 3 to 6 months, why have people been contacting you, seeking your help? What type of issues in particular lately? I think there's been two big ones. The first is behavior changes with their pets. So one woman, she's an incredible human being, and she goes to places like Tijuana where the stray dog population is just nuts. And she brings them back to the States and either adopts them herself or finds them forever homes. Wow. This woman's amazing. She lives up in Canada. She's just an incredible human being for doing that. But she had these 2 dogs that she had brought back from Tijuana. And for a while, they were getting along great with the other pack and with each other and whatever. And all of a sudden, they started getting really aggressive to the point of she was afraid she was going to have to put them down. And that's the last thing she wanted to do. Of course. So she reached out to me and she said, can you talk to them and help me figure out what they need, what's going on? And it was amazing talking to these 2 dogs. One of them was being aggressive because she was really livid, pissed. She was grateful for being rescued and being brought to somewhere, you know, safer for her and all of that. But she was livid pissed because she felt like some of her friends got left behind. And she was livid pissed because her mom was, you know, not 100% focused on her because she had all these other dogs too. Sure. And it made her feel like she wasn't wanted. And so I said, well, what can I do to help you feel better? And it was nothing, which it usually is, but I always ask. And I said, well, what can your mom do to help you feel better? And she had a whole list of things she wanted from mom. Perfect. I brought that back to mom. She started doing it much better. The other dog was being aggressive because she was really depressed and upset and sad, and for sort of similar reasons, but but what was so fascinating was they had different feelings that wound up getting expressed in the same way. And what she needed was very different because her emotion behind it was different. Gave that list to mom. Now both of those dogs are getting what they need, and they're living happily with their pack again and with their mom again. And it was so, I was just like, I am so blessed. I just saved these dogs' lives. Like, that's amazing. And then another behavior one was my veterinary acupuncturist that helps with Sunny. This wasn't even her cat, but she lives in a very rural area in New Hampshire, and across her house is a bunch of trees. But one of them is super, super tall, and it's one of those pine trees that doesn't have a lot of low down limbs. Somehow the cat had gotten stuck way up high in this tree. He'd gotten chased up there by something or whatever. She didn't know at the time, but she just knew the dog had been up there for like 3 days. And as a vet, she knew that, that starts to get really dangerous for a cat not to have food or water for that long.
Sure.
And the cat would not come down. So I said, well, text me a picture of it when you get home and I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
Tuned in. I couldn't see her in the picture real well because they're so high up, but I did the best I could. And I found out the cat's name. I found out that she got chased up there by a dog or a fox or something. And now she was afraid to come down.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they had put a ladder up for her and all these things. And so I showed her the ladder and how to get down. And she was still really afraid. And I said, well, there's a nice lady who would like to take care of you if you can just calm down. And I'm texting the acupuncture vet. This cat came out of the tree, got chased by a dog again, but eventually did find her way home and was happy and purring and felt loved again. And so it worked out really well. But it was so cool that I got to talk this cat out of a tree. And then another behavior thing was actually a referral from my veterinary acupuncture person. Was one of her other clients. Was a dog, and the dog, she'd been doing acupuncture on this dog for several years at this point, and the dog had always been fine with it, but recently had started acting very unhappy and aggressive about the whole thing. Yeah. And so the owner was the mom was like, what's going on? So I connected with the dog, and I found out several things that, the dog wanted mom to do differently just in life, but also specifically what was bothering the dog about the appointments. And so now they can make that adjustment and they can proceed. So that's been super cool to kind of be a part of adapting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The animal's feeling a lot of the changes and, showing it up, registering in their behaviors, and you be able to communicate and support them. So,
right.
Exactly.
It's really
the animals and the humans too.
Yes.
Yeah. So
cool.
Excellent. So, all right. So would you like to lead us through some type of group process or meditation or something that you feel would be of benefit to people either live or on replay?
So I was thinking about this morning, and I think what I want to do is I have a meditation that I've used in the past to help people get in tune with their creative self, their muse, their whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And if that's okay with you and you think that would be beneficial, I think that I would like to do that.
Love it. Let's do it.
Okay. So I encourage everyone to find somewhere comfortable and to just close your eyes. You can be sitting, standing, laying down. It doesn't matter. Just be comfortable. And then I want you to imagine yourself in a place where you feel the most at home and empowered within yourself. It can be somewhere imaginary, or it can be somewhere that you have been in real life. It does not matter. And I want you to just go there in your mind and walk around and just explore and enjoy being there. And as you're walking, you're going to just notice a door, and it can look however you want it to look. If it can look like it appears in a tree, or it can be a wall of vines, or it can be an actual door. It doesn't matter, but a door appears. And you're going to now set an intention that whatever is on the other side of that door is going to help you get in touch with your creativity, and will only be for your best and highest good. And I want you to make sure you say both of those things before you open the door. And then go open the door and just welcome in whatever it is. And then whatever comes through, that's sort of your spirit guide, if you will, for doing any creative endeavors. And you can come back to this place in your mind to talk to it, or you can literally just sit at your computer or at your desk and talk to whatever this is. And it can be anything. It could be a plant, an animal, a color of light, a mythical being, angels, whatever it is, trust that it's right, and just say thank you. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Yeah, people that are seeing this live or on replay, feel free to share comments. Can I just share at least my experience?
I would love to. I would love knowing what shows up for people. Yeah.
Yeah, at least for me, when you said, before you open the door, best and highest good. So I said, okay, yeah, best and highest good. Open that door. And I immediately felt like light come into the top of my heart and kind of like, woo, like almost like I kind of like jump started, like, woo, I felt that. It felt really good, like, a little infusion of heart energy. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So that is how that feeling is, and that whatever is related to your creativity. And so the next time you need to do something creative, kind of bring that feeling back.
Yeah. There you go. Cool. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. Sure. So those of you that are seeing live or on replay, feel free to share your experience if you'd like to. So,
just as an aside, that's actually sort of the first thing I do with any of my book coaching clients is that meditation. So you guys got a freebie.
Okay, yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you. So again, those that are either watching it live, if you have any questions or comments for Sarah, or if you have anything going on with your pets, are you able to use like some short mini readings?
The one caveat with that is I need to see a picture of their pet. So assuming I can see pictures if they post them in the comments, absolutely I'm open to that.
Got it. Okay. What about also if it were something for themselves? Do you see a picture? Or do you need?
I do need a picture, but yes.
Okay.
Yep. I'm either one, people or pets. Yep.
Got it. So, in our introduction, I know you said you've written some books for both children and for kids and adults. Do you by chance have any close by you where you could share a little bit more what they're about?
Absolutely. Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me go for a little walk across
my
room.
All right. Yeah.
My pretty room. See how pretty?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. I don't want to. I have a ton out, so I'm not going to go through all of them.
Like one or two. Just kind of give us a sense.
So, but I'll kind of do sort of like a quick overview, and then we can go more in depth on like one. So the very first thing that I published was this book series about how to connect with your spirit guides.
Okay.
It's a workbook series, and so that's these are all on Amazon, just so people know.
Okay.
And then this is another adult book. It's a workbook on mindfulness, and it takes you through 365 days. So that's really good if that's something you're working on.
Yeah.
Also for adults, I have 2 different poetry books. Writing those was the most like cathartic, emotional thing I have ever done. There's a lot of there's a lot of my soul in all of my books, but those are the ones like, it's me, like I slit my wrist and blood on a page sort of thing.
Okay. Kind of written in your own blood, huh? One of those.
Yeah. And then I currently have 7 children's books out. I only have copies of 6 because the 7th hasn't arrived yet. The very first one was Audrey's Big Dream. Okay. And a lot of these, let me see. I'm just really quick sort of categorizing them.
Yeah.
So that one, Gabby's Special Day, although sort of that, but Amber's Sick Day and Carlos Makes a Discovery, which is the one that I don't have copies of yet, are all about change and transformation, although Gabby is also about patience. The Sad Dragon is all about making friends for kids that have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
Joey's Big Decision is about he goes to his uncle's farm and decides that he no longer wants to eat meat because the animals are now his friends.
Okay.
And then the Little Lost Bee, this version of it is going to be a collector's item because I'm going to redo the illustrations with my usual illustrator.
Yeah.
But it's about like, I think at this point we all know the bees are in trouble and we really need them if we want to actually like have food.
Sure.
So whether you eat meat or not, we need the bees.
Right.
so the Little Lost Bee is about like it's about like the basic storyline is that the bee gets hit with what's that called, pesticides,
Yeah.
and because of that she has trouble finding her way home, and she gets lost, and a little boy finds her and takes her home. But along the way, you learn a lot of different facts about bees, and it's also about saying, hey, like, stop using pesticides.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Okay. And so these are mostly for like elementary school children. What kind of age in general?
like,
What
I'm saying like 5 to 9, but
okay.
at the same time, I was at age 3, I was reading books that were meant for 7-year-olds. So
Okay.
I feel like it can be, and I also feel like The Little Lost Prince is technically a children's book, or not The Little Lost Prince, The Little Prince is technically a kid's book, but adults find it very beneficial. I feel like these could be in that category too. So if you like a good story with awesome pictures, I don't care how old you are.
Yeah. I was just listening to the podcast of Massageries based out of Minneapolis. He had 2 near-death experiences, and
oh my goodness,
you know, when he came back both times, he was able to see people as frequencies and can just immediately see patterns in people and pull out things. And yeah, it's pretty quick. But
that's
yeah,
interesting.
this podcast called Exponential Intelligence, where he interviews different people. And he was interviewing, what's her name? Susan. I'm blanking on her last name, but what she does is she interviews kids. She works with kids that, you know, the new kids are coming in like very gifted and just immediately know people are lying to them or not.
Yes.
Able to just intuitively know things about Aunt Sally. She hasn't said a thing about her stomach issues, and the 3-year-old will just blurt out things, just know.
Yep.
Okay, that type of stuff. Very fascinating. Do some of your books, or you think some of your future books will speak to that segment of today's kids?
I think they all do, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I never imagined myself as a children's writer necessarily, although Spirit clearly had this in mind for me from the very beginning, because that paper that I mentioned I wrote in 4th grade, I actually interviewed a local children's author to where I was living at the time.
Wow.
Spirit had it in mind all along, but I never imagined it necessarily because I am not a mom. I don't want to be a mom. It's not that I dislike children, but I don't spend a ton of time around them, you know?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't anything I ever imagined, but every single time I ask for a way to be given a voice about something, it shows up as 90% of the time it shows up as a children's book. And sometimes it shows up as a poem. And every once in a while I get workbooks for adults, but clearly like Spirit has the children's book thing in mind. And here's the thing. I said I have 7 out right now. That's because I can only go as fast as my illustrator. I technically have written 24.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, and I feel like the reason that it's for kids is because children are our future anyways, and children always have influence over their parents anyways. I mean, I remember when I was in elementary school, we had some guy come to the school and do a program about recycling. Yeah. And I went home and said, we have to recycle. And I was a pain in the ass about it until we actually recycled. Mm-hmm. And I'm still a pain about recycling, but I know that kids teach their parents just as much as parents teach their kids, sometimes maybe more. And so I feel like Spirit gave me this in with children because it's supposed to be sort of that bottom up learning. Yeah. And it therefore is even more beneficial for those kids that are coming in with that extra wisdom. They're just going to see the message even clearer than the kids that aren't. And they're going to be that much more vocal about it. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah. So, so is there anything else you'd like to share with us? About some aspects of your background, what you're up to, where you're going next 6 months or year? Or?
God, I don't even know.
Okay. Yeah.
And I say that because, like, it's not that I don't have goals. I definitely have goals. and I believe that they're spirit-led goals, but I've learned not to set timeframes anymore because they don't happen. And I've learned that just because it's my goal doesn't mean it's what spirit wants for me right now. It might, so although my goal is to be a rich and famous author and to write at least as many books as Richard Scarry, which was 300, by the way.
Okay.
That may happen when I'm 65, not when I'm 40. And so, right now my short-term goal is just I need to make enough to pay my bills in whatever way that income comes to me is fine. I'm as long as it's, not harmful to me in the process.
Sure.
That's my short-term goal.
Yeah.
How that all plays out in the next 6 months to a year, I couldn't begin to guess.
And is it fair to say you'll be trusting your inner voice, your inner guidance?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's become a way of life now. Yeah. I will say that, and this is a cool tip for your viewers too. Yeah. One of the ways that I have found personally very helpful to get in touch with it when I'm feeling really stressed, because when you're really stressed, it's really easy to listen to that loud voice in your head going, panic, 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 panic.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to listen to that inner voice. It's very quiet and it whispers, and you have to listen really closely. Is this thing that the person who introduced it to me calls it journey dancing. And I liked it because that sounds very shamanic. But the basic point of it is you take off your shoes and your socks if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Or warm enough in my case. And,
right.
and you close your eyes and you just move your body however it wants to move. Mm-hmm. If you feel uncomfortable being watched, do this in your bedroom with the door closed. But it for me, it just gets me back to that centered place. It gets me back to that without having to sit and meditate, because when you're stressed out, that can be really hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you're stressed out, it's easy to move because your energy is high anyways when you're stressed out. So moving your body is giving it something it wants anyways, but you're doing it in this much more spiritual way with the journey dancing. And so it just, for me, it just brings me back to this centered place where I can go, all right, yep, I'm listening.
Good. Cool. Great. So, Sarah, please share with the audience the best way to reach you, either website or phone, whatever, social media. What's the best way to reach you? They want to learn more.
I am on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and any of those are probably the best way to find me. But you could also use my email, which is sarah@sarahssoul.com. That's okay too. But okay. I prefer the social media methods, just because it's what's open when I'm, I will respond quicker usually.
Just say quicker. So Instagram, which other ones do you?
Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Okay, and they'll find you under Sarah Woodard, your name? Yeah.
So in all three cases, just search for Sarah Woodard, authoress. And it will come up. You'll see my face. I have it, the display name is Sarah Woodard, authoress and healer. But if you search for Sarah Woodard, authoress, it'll come up. It's a black and white headshot. So. Okay.
Yeah, we'll put these in the program notes too, so they can find you.
On them. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much for being my guest on the People and Pets Show today. And so thank you. And so I'd like to remind all our, we go on the air live every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please remember to comment, like, and share this episode. If you've seen it on Facebook, please do it there. If you're seeing this on replay on YouTube, give the show a like and a thumbs up, and subscribe to the People and Pets channel. Each week I'll be bringing you a guest in the holistic space for people, animals, and spaces. Next week, my guest will be Suzanne Thibault. She is an animal communicator, pet relationship specialist, and spiritual life coach, serving animal lovers to effectively communicate with their pet. So as the founder of Soul Safari, her mission is to support women who love animals and their pets to rebalance body, mind, and emotions, hands and paws healing together with the Holy Spirit. So join me next week with my guest, Suzanne Thiebaud. And remember, you can always find me here at peopleandpetsenergetics.com. If there's anything I can help you with, again, with your situations, your pets, or your spaces, please give me a call. Or, you can call 210-775-2696 or connect through my website. You can leave a message and I'll get back with you. Again, thank you, Sarah, for being my guest today. Thank you all for viewing the People and Pet Show live or on replay. And have a great rest of the week. And we'll be in touch real soon. Bye-bye, everyone.